This brush pen is the Artist Loft watercolor dual tip marker. So it's Michael's Store's version of the Tombow dual brush pen. And they have this pointed large tip brush pen nib on one side, and then the other is in the same color of ink, and it's a bullet side, a bullet tip. Let's walk through some of these characteristics. So they are a felt tip brush pen, and they are large, so they're about the same size as the Tombow dual brush pens if you're familiar with those. They're a little bit firmer though, in my opinion, than the Tombow dual brush pens. So if the Tombows are flexible, I would call these a little bit closer to medium flexible. They seem just a tiny bit stiffer and tiny bit better at holding their shape. They are water-based, which makes them ideal for blending. There are 48 colors, so I have the 48 color set right here, and I'll show you a few of the colors from it. And just a tip on these, if you try putting the caps on the ends of the other side, then it won't really stay very well, so just make sure you don't lose your caps. All right, let's take a look at some of the colors. So this is from the 48 pack. Now these aren't all of them, and they kind of got out of their little holders here, but you can still see that there's a pretty big variety of colors. However, one thing that I noticed is that there's not a huge difference sometimes in some of the colors. Like these yellows are pretty close to one another, and like I don't really use yellow that much, so the fact that there's 4 yellows in here, I wish that they had spent more time making maybe different shades of purple or even some darker shades. So there's, again, lots of shades of like reds here that are pretty similar to one another, but the color selection, again, they have 48 colors, so they do have a wide variety. Let's just look at a few of these here. So when I go to write with these, you can hear that they are pretty squeaky. They make a lot of noise when you write. But you can get a nice contrast between the thick and the thin lines, and the transitions between them is pretty easy as well. So if you're familiar with the Tombow dual brush pens, these tend to be a little bit more, in my opinion, they're a little bit sharper. Like the end is a bit pointier, and they're a little bit better at holding their shape as you do the thin strokes. Let's just look at one other color here. So this purple is pretty light. The color as you go over it is fairly buildable, so it gets darker the more that you go over it. Also, because these are water-based, you can do some blending with them. I haven't found a colorless blender that goes along with them yet, so if anyone knows if there is a colorless blender like there is for the Tombow, let me know. But if you take 2 colors, then you can use them to blend the inks together because they're water-based, and this is going to work best on paper that's fairly smooth and not as absorbent. So there's a pretty nice blend that you can get with these. Okay, so you can get them in various sets. The largest pack is the 48 pack, but you can also find them in smaller variations. And overall, they're really nice pens. You can get some great contrast between the thicks and the thins, lots of color variety, and they hold their shape pretty well to make the thin strokes not too difficult.